So President Trump, as you may know, is in France for the G7 meeting, but everybody's there. And the French and the Europeans and the Asians and the Japanese are all very happy about the cessation of hostilities between Iran, USA, and Israel. And they won and did nothing to help the United States and Israel tamp down the threat from this terrorist state, Iran. Zero. So they get the benefit of all of our tax money, and we'll get into that. Europe gets free riders again. So why wouldn't you be happy? And they're all clapping for Trump, and they like him now. Okay, gone is Greenland. All right, so the president opens with what exactly the deal is with Iran. Go.
And it's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to, because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
So that was a headline today, that the Iranian pursuit of a nuclear weapon is dead. It's not dead, but it's badly, badly damaged. Now, people believe what they want to believe. The Democratic Party is going to tell you that President Obama had the Iranians locked down, that there was no threat. All right. I mean, it's a useless debate. It's useless. So we assume, and I hope I'm right because I don't want to mislead you, that Iran did ramp up its uranium enrichment and was a threat. So we assume that is true. The Trump haters and his opposition will never believe that. You could take them down to mine, they're not going to believe it. Now, that was a justification for the conflict, along with a few other things, but that was the big one, okay? And the president addressed it. Go.
Importantly, Iran has agreed that they will neither produce nor procure a nuclear weapon, neither produce, because originally they said, they talk about that they will not develop a nuclear weapon. And some people found it okay. These guys didn't, in all fairness, but some people... But I didn't like it. Said it won't develop. I said, what happens if they should buy? I don't know. It's very dangerous for somebody to sell, because whoever sells them a nuclear weapon will get nuked themselves. If they sold a nuclear weapon, only a few that could do it, they would be nuked. They wouldn't have that country long. So it's a very dangerous thing for somebody to do. But I wanted it in there. So it's develop, procure, buy, anything. And you'll see that when you see the agreement, but it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way.
All right, so the agreement is around now, and the media has it. It's supposed to be signed on Friday, okay? Then the money question. There's a lot of Americans that are outraged that we are buying, pretty much buying, Iran's cooperation. Again, it's a terrorist state. Here's what the president said about that. Go.
So we don't give them money. We don't give them any of that. And what happens is, with time, if they behave, if they be a citizen of the world, a reasonable citizen of the world.
And the president defined it further that they're going to unfreeze Iranian money, which is held all around the world in banks. And that was frozen because of economic sanctions against Iran. Violations, I mean, there's just endless violations. And the UN and other countries said enough, and we're going to freeze the money. So that money will be released, okay? And then there will be money coming from the Gulf states when they make deals with Iran. Now, I don't know what the deals are. President Trump is a little foggy on this, but he believes that Iran then, with all its oil exporting, will make up a lot of money. The number bantered around is 300 million. But he says flat out, we, the United States taxpayer, are not paying Iran. Obviously, I hope that's true. Okay. Then he talks about this is a legacy thing. I reported this yesterday. Trump's legacy versus Obama's legacy. And again, the Democrats are never in a million years going to say the Obama nuke deal with Iran was a bad deal. They are never, and Trump's never going to say there was anything good about the deal. So forget it, it's a waste of time. But as an extension of that, President Trump said this, go.
And Iran got stronger and tougher. If we didn't blow them up the first time and then blow out those weapons, they would have been unstoppable.
Okay, now he's talking about the bombing last June, a year ago, I should say, that downgraded not only the uranium, but also ballistic missiles and across the board. Now, we could confirm the ballistic missiles and the other ordnance, military ordnance. A lot of it was destroyed. You can confirm that from space. But enrichment of uranium can't. So the president says, yeah, we downgraded it. I would say most weapons people believe that. Certainly ones we have talked to, the ones in Austria, but you can't prove it 100%. So if Iran doesn't live up, and you hear this all the time, cliches abound, well, you can't trust them, they killed this, they'll lie. Oh, it's true. But Trump says he has a very simple solution to any deceit. Go.
We will bomb them. They will be bombed, just like I bombed them on Wednesday night and Tuesday night, and was going to bomb them on Thursday night at a level that was 3 times greater, and they knew that. I will bomb them. Now, that's with me as president. If you have a weak, pathetic president, maybe that doesn't happen, but I can only do the job that I have to do. I have a long time to go. I have almost 3 years, close to 3 years. Time is going fast.
Now, I know that President Trump doesn't want to bomb them, okay? It costs an enormous amount of money to do that, and he doesn't want dead bodies, civilians, all over the place. And I know that because I talked to him about it, eye to eye, man to man, one-on-one. Okay? So I'm a primary source here. So far, according to Pentagon, we have spent $30 billion on the Iranian conflict. $30 billion. A lot of money. Spain didn't kick in anything, as I mentioned. All right. So I wish you guys were all here if you have any other questions. The other thing that that the president really didn't address, okay, and I was disappointed that he didn't. So we didn't get the weapons inspectors. He didn't get that. What about Hormuz? So Hormuz is open now, and the Iranians are shipping oil out of there through tankers, and every other country shipping in and out. So it's open. But who controls it? Who controls that body of water? Apparently that's not in any memorandum or any treaty or anything. It's pretty important. Is it a line important? Did we go to war to open the Strait of Hormuz? No. But because the Iranians were effective in intimidating the insurance companies that spend an enormous amount of money on the tankers, insuring the tankers, a lot of tankers didn't move in there. It wasn't that Iran had all this ordnance that they would throw. It's just the threat of it. And that paralyzed a lot of oil sales. And then Herbert Hoover made an appearance in the president's speech going, Trump said, I don't want to be Herbert Hoover and preside over a worldwide depression. And that was Iran's big weapon, that they would create so much chaos in the shipping of oil that the world would go into a recession or depression. And Herbert Hoover, and I was complimented because Donald Trump read my book, Confronting the Presidents, and we went into the Hoover thing big time. And he knows that now. Did he use that off my book? I can't say, but I know he read it. Okay, so let me just recap, because there's a lot going on here. So Trump believes that he's got the Iranians receding from the uranium enrichment nuke weapons. He believes that. If they don't or go back, he's going to destroy the country militarily, going to destroy them militarily. So he said, I have an assurance because we wreaked so much damage on them, we'll do it 5 times as much. Hormuz is still undefined. Okay, we just don't know what that's going to be. I don't suspect it's going to be a major problem because, again, money drives this. Money is driving this. And the Gulf states, and he mentioned all of them, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Emirates and all that, they're going to make deals with Iran, financial deal. Everybody's going to be in the Iran business for a while. And Trump knows that. And that was part of the equation to the mullahs. You want to rebuild your country, this is the way to do it because we've destroyed your country. All right, now, dissent. And it's the usual suspects, and I'm kind of wasting your time playing the stuff, but I think you need to know, and I'm not going to play a lot of it, that the dissent against Trump will never stop, no matter what he does. And he brought it up today in the press. He goes, no matter what I do, it's going to be terrible. So the first one was NBC in the form of MS. Go.
He's complaining about how much dropping American bombs cost $250 million and bombing for another 2 to 3 months wouldn't make a difference. That's an incredible signal to the Iranians, the Chinese, the Russians, that President Trump has no stomach, for military conflict. It's amazing.
Yeah, so now the most dovish network in the history of network news wants more military conflict. All right, and their number is wrong. The 250 million is wrong, according to the Pentagon. All right, the second one comes from CNN, another reliable liberal Democrat source. This is from a guy named Ian Bremmer, who runs a foreign policy operation. So we, unlike the others, identify who we're using on the air. And Bremmer's a liberal, okay? CNN would never tell you that, but they couldn't wait to book Murphy in Connecticut, every bomb thrower in the world that hates Trump, that CNN is just lining them up, okay? Here's what Bremmer said. Go.
Not a single one. Not the ballistic missiles, not the nuclear file, not the support for terror or for proxies in the region, not choosing the next supreme leader, not rescuing the Iranian people. There was not a single war goal that the Americans decided that this was why they had to go and decapitate the Iranian regime that is being resolved by this agreement. Not one.
Well, that's simply not true, all right? You got a framework that says this country is not going to pursue a nuclear weapon. You got it in writing. So either Bremmer doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't care to tell the truth. And the second one is that because Iran is so bellicose and so aggressive, that Israel in particular wanted to downgrade their missile program, which happened. Yeah, that happened. And you know that their leader was killed, and so, I mean, guys like that, these are just say anything. They're not fact-based guys. All right, one guy who is a fact-based guy is Jerry Baker, and he's a columnist for the Wall Street Journal. Here's how he sees it. Go.
We keep seeing very good numbers on jobs. Inflation has gone up a bit, but will come down again. The underlying performance of the U.S. economy is really very robust. And that's why, again, whatever one thinks of the security aspects of this, getting the world economy back to some sort of an even keel and stability is going to be good for the U.S.
And
There you go, Jerry, all about money, and it is. And so it's the usual stuff. Now, when I was watching President Trump, I watched the whole thing. I thought it was pretty good. I would have liked to have heard more specificity, all right, particularly on how you're going to be monitoring. You know, he said, well, we got the space stuff and we got eyes on the gates and the nuclear area, but 3 miles down on the ground, you don't. I would have liked to hear more about that. And then Hormuz, I still don't know what's going on there. I don't expect that to be big, as I said. And the final thing is Israel got screwed in this deal. Israel gets nothing out of this deal at all, and President Trump wants to constrain them. You know, his words were, look, every time they kill a Jewish person, and he's talking to Bibi Netanyahu, you don't have to blow up 5 buildings. Okay, and Israel got nothing out of this at all. They cannot be happy tonight. MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. So this is what happens in a negotiation, all right? And then the formality is on Friday, as I mentioned, in Geneva, Switzerland. I believe Vance is going to be there, not Trump. Trump's getting out of Europe as quick as he can after he has dinner with Macron tonight. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe Trump will stay around. He said he might stay around. I can't see it. He wants to play golf over the weekend. And I'm not saying that in a derisional way, but that's what he wants to do. Let's see, did I miss anything? That's pretty comprehensive. That's pretty comprehensive. I think I got it. I think you're up to date. Again, I wish you were all in this room so we could kick it around, but am I making any mistakes, Doctor?
Not at all, Bill. I think you have it pretty much right where it should be. This is not the final deal. This is just the MOU. It's just the framework for the 60 days of negotiations. So those people who are complaining about how it didn't contain everything in the kitchen sink really don't understand how this is only phase 1 of the process.
But if it doesn't happen on Friday, then the president takes a hit because his words were defining what this memorandum was. So you would assume that what he said is what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. The only way that wouldn't happen is if the Iranians decided to start to play tricks, like they recently did with respect to the ceasefire in Lebanon, where they unilaterally added that, oh, by the way, all the Israeli forces have to leave Lebanon.
Right.
That's part of the ceasefire. So that was Iran moving the goalposts. And it's possible that they could try to do something like that and say, you know, unless you do this, there's no deal. But I also know from President Trump's book that part of the art of the deal is the ability to walk away from the table. So I think the Iranians shouldn't play chicken with the president. They should just get it done on Friday.
Well, they should, but who knows? But Trump will hit them militarily if they pull anything like that. He'll hit them hard. Now, there's a 60-day window for further specificity on the nukes. So they got 60 days. I don't expect anything to happen in the 60, and they'll probably do another 60 and all of that, because President Trump knows that's his vulnerability. No weapons inspectors, can't be 100% sure that they're upholding the deal. And then the Iranians may try to get as much money as they can and then do whatever they do. So I didn't say that in my talking points memo, but that 60 days, that's a little fraught too. I mean, they could be pulling a lot of tricks, but you know what? It struck me, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. Trump used his speech to praise China. He said that China could have helped Iran and didn't, with Stinger missiles and other things. And he went out of his way. He even gave Putin a little shout out, which Putin doesn't deserve, but she did. She could have caused an amazing amount of trouble there by arming Iran against the USA and Israel. So Trump used his speech for a lot more than just a memorandum. You agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And if you look at the MOU, the final point says that it will be secured whatever comes out of the 60 days. And I agree with you, it's not going to be 60 days. It's going to probably take a lot longer. But whatever comes out of that process has to be confirmed by the UN Security Council. And essentially, that gives China and Russia a veto over whatever comes out of this process if they choose to veto. So the fact that the president went out of his way to praise China and give a little nod to Russia, I think is looking forward to the fact that at the end of the day, those two countries are going to have to vote for whatever comes out of this process.
Yeah, I mean, that's a symbolic vote because Trump's going to do what he wants. So if he sees that the mullahs are violating or aren't doing what they said they were going to do to him, he'll hit them militarily, and the UN's not going to stop him. The other thing about this that's fascinating is that Donald Trump didn't mention the midterms, but it was all over the place, and that he feels that he has to get the prices for consumers here in America down and down fast, or that he's going to lose power. Did you read it that way?
Yes, and I think this is another reason why the 60-day timeline isn't the real timeline, because I have serious doubts that if this whole thing, flamed out, that we would be going back to open war in the middle of August with the midterms coming up in October. I mean, there would be no chance to reset at that point. So
that's why there's another 60 behind the first 60. It's 60 days, it's renewable. But what's on the president's mind is not just international. It's, hey, I gotta get momentum back here in the United States. And I think that was a paramount point. And the president kind of avoided that a little bit, but behind the scenes, I know that was big. Last word.
Well, you're right. Politics is a reality. I mean, there's the international dimension, but there's also the domestic. And I think the Republicans, even though people are writing the obituary for the Republican Congress, I don't think that's true. I think the Republicans have a chance to retain everything. And President Trump wants to see that happen.
Yeah,
so getting off the dance floor is important to him.
The legacy is the most important to him. And the polling is already tightening up, according to CNN, which I mentioned. And then the Democratic Party, they don't have a lot of response other than Obama's deal was better. I'm just an aside. Do you think Obama's deal was better than, do you think it constrained Iran from developing a nuclear weapon?
No, the Obama deal was terrible. It didn't constrain them from anything. It gave them all kinds of unlimited money, which they then used to fund their terrorist proxies. And ultimately it sunsetted and basically gave Iran a timeline for developing a nuclear weapon. So I think the president's critique of the JCPOA was right on target. It's too soon, though, to compare this to the JCPOA because, again, this is just the MOU. It's the framework for the negotiation.
Yeah, nobody knows if it's going to go down, although I think it will in the short term. But if another U.S. president is elected, Trump pointed that out, that's weak, then the mullahs will run wild again. Hey, Doctor, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Nice to have you on the program.